Hey guys, it's Em, and today it's time for another SNK recap kind of thing. I read from chapters 140 to 202 this time, and that sounds like a lot, but not a lot really happened, so you'll see when I start explaining it to you. So, like I left off last time, I intentionally stopped at the Zong part because Zong is meant to be the holy savior that saves the entire book. And at the start, he's not really super interesting. I don't know if I could say the word, but he's undercover with the bad guys, and he doesn't really do too much interesting when he's around them. So after like 10 or so chapters of just filler talking, he runs into Kazumi at Geis's grave, and they fight for a bit. And I read this first half a while ago, so my memory may be failing me, but I remember Zong dogging Kazumi, and then when Kazumi's about to lose, he goes into MT for 2 seconds by accident and can't go back into it. I don't mean like he went into MT and stayed in MT. I mean, he went into MT to dodge a move because the writer was like, I don't know how to get out of this. Which was like the biggest ass pull for no reason. And after that moment, they fight like they're on equal ground, and I'm like, no, Zong was just dogging you 3 seconds ago, but it's whatever. The big fight that everyone kept trying to wind me up for to go like, yes, Zong versus Kazumi, it's like Ken versus Rao. Their first encounter was kind of dog shit, all things considered. Even Kenshiro and Rao's first encounter in like base HNK I think was better than this. And like I said, I don't even really care for that encounter that much. Something about the fact of Kazumi just going into MT by accident for 2 seconds and then them pretending, yeah, they're equal. I'm like, no, you just pulled that out of your ass. After that, Zong proceeds to get ruined as a character for like the next 40 chapters. Because after that, they try to focus on Zong's little arc where he's chasing this guy that killed his parents. And that part is painfully uninteresting. Just because the guy that he's chasing doesn't have any martial arts, doesn't really mean anything in the grander scheme of the story, and no one else really cares about him. So they're just dealing with this guy, and you're like, I can't wait for this to be over, and we talk about the characters I care about. What else got introduced in there? Zong's girlfriend shows up. She's kind of information vessel. She kind of showed up to go like, I love Zong, but we gotta deal with him. That's kind of her entire personality. She really does not do anything at all, you know. You're telling me an HNK property is wasting characters? Unbelievable. In real talk, Zong hardly does anything in those times where he's chasing this scarred guy. Because there's so much time where they're not even fighting. Like, he's not even engaging the scarred, not Juke looking fella. They're just talking about, I think Zong is gonna be over here. Dang, that guy who killed my parents, he keeps getting away. Blah, 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 blah. Like, there's so much random talking, again, as I say in every SNK review part. It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, like I said, the dude doesn't have any powers. Zong could kill him in like 3 seconds if he like got his hands on him. But we have to keep distracting from the main point because I think they know everyone knows that. But anyway, some point into this arc, not Juke calls Yasuka, which we aren't meant to know is Yasuka yet, and he lures Zong into a trap and he fucks him up. This leads to Kazumi and Feion taking care of Zong, and then they kind of become friends a little bit. They're at least allies for the moment. And this leads to one of the best moments in the book so far, where Kazumi explains this whole story where he meets a ghost wolf in a temple somewhere in the middle of the desert, and then at the end of it all, it explains Hokuto Shinken to him, and then it disappears. And it's funny because when I was reading it, well, 2 things about it actually. One, I know some people like that scene. It's too long. It could have been 1 chapter. They could have summarized it a little bit. I felt like they broke down a little too much when he was explaining it. After he explains the whole story, I remember sitting back and going like, well, I wouldn't believe him. He just said all this shit disappeared. And then Zong says the same thing, and I'm like, uh-oh, character. And then Zong and Kazumi start arguing, and Feion tries to break it up, and they're like, we're not friends. Who the fuck told you we're friends? And Feion's like, why are you yelling at me? That's probably the best character-driven moment in the book. Honest to God, it might be the only character-driven moment since, you know, this is SNK and no one just talks in this book. It's a great moment. I think this is the start of when I started to actually like Feion, because if you remember last time, I thought he was okay. Around this point is where I was accepting him as a good character. But back onto the point of me talking about characters not having any character development, because this is something I bring up in the lives in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, I recommend you join it. Kazumi doesn't really talk to Pan, because if you remember earlier, like I said in one of the earlier recaps, I love Pan. Pan seems super interesting. She was like a badass. Da 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 da. She barely gets to do anything now. She doesn't have martial arts, so they can't bring her to fights, but you would think since Kazumi and her were like, about to get married or were married, there would be some conversations between them but the only time they ever talk is when something important is happening and they need to set up the next arc. They don't go, "Hey babe, are you okay?" "Yeah, you know, this Feiyun guy." Like a little bit of neat exposition explained that way. They don't get any screen time together. And before this moment where Feiyun is talking to Kazumi and Zong, he didn't get too much either. You see him when he just adjusts and they take him in. There isn't any real character defining moments other than him going like, "I don't know how to be a priest." Anyways, back onto the main story, because after this is what made me sad. So like I just said, I started to like Feiyun. This was around the point where I got used to him as a character. So Yasuka, who we're not meant to know is Yasuka yet, again, sets this kid out and he's like, "Oh, I'm injured. Let the church take me in." And it's a trap for Feiyun. Feiyun gets poisoned by getting shot in the back, and then he gets captured, which set off every red flag for me because almost every HNK and SNK death is kinda written like this. But anyways, Feiyun wakes up in the secondary location and he runs into Yasuka and he's like, "The Lord demanded that I kill you, and my Lord will be the one to take you out because my Lord wanted me to do it, and by Lord he will." He leaves for a little bit and Feiyun's by himself, and there's this little scene where there's a bird that Erica helped and is trying to help him. And the one thing I have a problem with is they leave him tied up on this mast or cross. I can't honestly remember which one of the two it was. And Feiyun's just sitting there like, "I guess I'm trapped." I'm like, does he know he knows Discount Nanto? There's no way that pressure point is still in effect. There's no way he can't just slice himself free. From what I remember, there was a good period where Yasuka wasn't even there. So I don't know why he didn't just free himself and run away. But anyways, long story short, Yasuka comes back, Feiyun frees himself, and they begin fighting. And this is probably the best side character fight in all of SNK. Probably because it's an actual fight, unlike Geist where he just got immediately destroyed. They actually have a real struggle, and it was really nice to see. I was shocked it was in this book, to be honest. They were trading blows, having, you know, little witty comebacks at each other. It was really cool. And unlike the Geist fight, Feiyun actually does some damage to Yasuka. Yasuka ends up winning at the end. Feiyun got his really good strikes in. At the end of the fight, Kazumi makes it there because the bird ratted on Yasuka from what I remember. And long story short, Yasuka runs away because the army splits the two of them up. Kazumi picks up Feiyun and they're like, "Okay, Feiyun, we have to get you back. You have to see Erica one last time." And he says, "No, I don't want her last memories of me to be like this." And he has this really good death scene. And I don't mean like Geist, where it's specifically his death, because this is immediately after the fight I just said was good. This entire last section was really good for Feiyun. I'm mad that it's when they decided to kill him, they gave him his best moment, and probably one of the best moments in SNK and HNK, to be honest, if you want me to be real. He got one of the best ways to go out. He basically took what Koryasha had and then put it on an actual important character. He was really good. All of this entire section where it's Feiyun, he's carrying the book. Everyone else exists, but he's hard carrying the book. And somewhat related, let me talk about Yasuka. I don't think Yasuka is going to be that interesting. I know I haven't gotten to the part where they really deal with him yet, but his character just kind of seems like, "The Lord told it and the Lord taketh and the Lord." I'm like, okay. He doesn't seem to have a personality other than that, and it's kind of when your personality is based off of one thing and it doesn't seem like there's anything you could base off of that one thing, it's like, it's too much. It's too much for me personally. I hope they expand on him a little bit more, but knowing SNK, I have a feeling that Feiyun is probably going to be the best character in the book. I'm not even going to say for right now, I'm just going to say in general. I don't know if Zong can come back. I know people say, the next arc is the best arc, and Zong's going to clap back way harder than you're expecting. I'm not expecting much from him. If he does clap back, I can't wait to be surprised, but if not, I could accept that Feiyun is probably just going to be the best character in general. I just wish he lived longer. It's actually a shame that they killed him so fast. And then after that, they deal with the scar-faced guy, and that's kind of it. That's kind of where I ended for the night. Overall, from this set of chapters, is there anything really great worth talking about? Probably just Feiyun. Honestly, like the little funny moment, like I said earlier, where they had the little character development, and Kazumi and Zong are there. "We're not friends," and Feiyun's like, "What are you yelling at me for?" That was cool, but the Feiyun death was amazing. The Feiyun final fight and death was really good. Feiyun is the MVP of these chapters. He's the only thing that made it interesting. When I started reading this set of chapters, I was sitting there, oh great, here's the part where Zong talks for 10 years about this guy I don't care about. And then Feiyun shows up, and then the story all of a sudden became pretty good. I don't think it peaked like the Taeyun section did for me, Maybe it's because I had higher hopes back then. I have no idea. But this was really good. This is probably like the second peak of SNK. I wish I wasn't buried under 8 million chapters, but this was really good. I really did like this section. I hope this is a sign for things to come. I doubt it is, but I really hope it is. But with that, I'm assuming the only thing left is the Zong fight, because there's only 60 chapters or so left in the book, so I can't wait to read that. Good or bad, at least it'll be over. But with all that out of the way, I guess that's really all my thoughts for right now. So, I've been M, and I am out.